All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Real Talk Real Estate Show. I'm your host, of course, David Huffman here with Real First Real Estate Coaching, and super excited today to kind of once again connect with a panelist or host, a co-host, I guess is the best way to put it, that we had before in our show. And you guys actually reached out a lot and talked about cutting the fluff in your business, and so. Bruce and I wanted to come to you again today and kind of bring you another example of what cutting the fluff really could mean for you in your business. And today's topic is going to be a doozy. It's going to be one that really a lot of people struggle with. And you're probably, honestly, at the end of this at the end of this episode, you're going to probably feel like, oh my gosh, these guys have no idea what they're talking about. Or you're going to be like, you know what, maybe they are bringing some truth to the industry or truth to what is really going on or what I really should be focused on. And so today's episode, we're going to be talking about teams. And this is a very touchy subject because as a coach, and Bruce is a coach as well, I'm sure he'll expand in a little bit, but a lot of the things that we hear from students is, I need a team, I've got to have a team, I need an assistant, I need buyer's agents, I need all these people working for me. But what does that really mean, or how do you really lay that out to be profitable for you? Because the only reason we would really want to have other people working for us is to be more profitable. But how do we do that? So Bruce, thank you for having the time today and coming on for another episode of Cut the Fluff. Appreciate your time today, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for setting this up, David. And this topic, I feel this one I've been a little bit nervous about because I've had teams before and currently have one. And the big thing is what I'm seeing in the industry is a lot of people that are prematurely setting teams up or improperly setting teams up. And what I don't want people to hear is that all team structures are fluff. But
that's correct.
We're really going to kind of focus in on not just the proper way, but really the proper time, because when you do things out of order in your business, it can become a huge distraction. And not only could it end up putting you in a place where you lose all your profitability, but you might even go out of business. I've seen people that started teams prematurely, and it became a distraction to them, and it became this huge liability that completely drove them out of the industry.
Well, if it wasn't because they went broke, it was because they probably went insane, having to deal with so many different things so early until they got used to the business to really know what to do. So yeah, you bring up an absolutely good point. And I'm on the same page as Bruce. I'm definitely not advocating that you shouldn't ever have a team. Myself in my production years, all was basically with 2 buyer's agent and 1 assistant. And that was, for me, around 23 to 27 million, each year in production, but that's all that I had as well. So I wouldn't have been able to attain those levels without having somewhat of a team in place. But let me start this off with something that happened to me this week. I had a new student that had just signed up for our coaching program. And one of the first things I found out, he had been coached by, supposedly the number 1 coaching company out there. I won't say the name, but he had been coached, and the guy had literally been in the business for a year and a half. A year and a half as a residential real estate agent. And in that year and a half, he had done somewhere around 22 transactions. 22 transactions is what he had accomplished in his career in that year and a half. But he was already at this point wanting additional help to be able to grow his team. He's already hired a buyer's agent. Okay. So I'm like thinking, well, time out here. All right. So I'll set that one up first. Let me set another one up for you as well as an idea of a team. I had another gentleman say, I have 2 buyer's agents that work for me, and I would like to get some additional training for them. I'm like, okay, great. Let me understand what's going on. So his perspective as being the team leader or being the full agent, however you want to refer to it, his perspective was, I have 2 buyer's agents that are specifically on my team, and I want them to be better buyer's agents at prospecting and lead generation. So I said, let me ask you a question. Who's responsible for the leads? And of course, his answer was, well, of course the agents are. They have to learn on their own how to do this business. I'm not just going to hand them leads. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, well, you're not hiring me, because if you hire me to help them, first thing I'm going to tell them to do is get out from underneath you.
Get out.
I mean, so you can do that if you want, but I'm just going to be honest with you. That's what I'm going to do, because you're trying to set up a team and you don't even have the leads to support the team members. So how is that going to work? So I know that's two different perspectives, but I'll open it up with that, Bruce, and I'll allow you to comment, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. So first off is I don't want anyone to hear David or myself saying that 22 deals in a year and a half is something to sneeze at. That's a pretty decent start for
a new agent.
It's more than decent. But it kind of takes me back to a good friend of mine who used to be on a team with me. And my good friend, we'll call him Larry.
Sure. Good old Larry.
Good old Larry. All right. So was always doing 2 deals a month, always. And I respect that. A lot of people are going to be out there and they're going to say, I'd like to get to that point where I can reliably close 2 transactions a month.
Right.
But Larry, as soon as you added a third or a fourth in any given month, which we all know there's these peaks and valleys, as soon as you added a third and fourth, Larry really struggled big time. Right. An agent that is bringing on a team needs to be able to consistently handle high volumes of business. They may have their 1 or 2 month closing, or 1 or 2 closings a month here and there.
Right.
But they're probably also going to have the 10 or 12 as well. It's really hard as a team leader to actually take on responsibility for a team member and to teach that team member how to properly handle transactions and a high volume of business when you yourself melt down under the pressure of 3 or 4 deals at a time. And that happens. I'm not saying that you're going to walk in and instantly be able to handle this business, but you need to experience it yourself.
That needs to become your norm, is what we kind of coach.
Exactly.
Like, that needs to become the new norm. You know, doing 1 or 2 deals a month on an average is going to be a norm. You're going to kind of get comfortable on what you need to do on every day. You're going to kind of know what to manage and look at in the key metrics in your business. But when you get to that 5 to 7 pending transactions every single month, you got to get weird for a little while before you're going to get to the point that your 5 to 7 is going to feel normal to you. And that's just a normal day and a normal week and a normal month. And then, but 10 to 12 is going to be a whole nother level from that point. But a lot of the agents that I think that are coming in and looking at it from the team, I want to set up a psychology behind it. Okay. So I'll use you as an example, Bruce, and let's just say that you're a normal agent and you're looking to, build a team just for a conversation. So why would I want to hire Bruce as a buyer's agent? Well, that means I'm thinking I can work less. Bruce is going to do all the work, and I get half of Bruce's commissions, and I don't have to do anything. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have enough leads for myself right now, but Bruce can get some leads. Maybe Bruce knows somebody. So let me hire Bruce on as a buyer's agent. Then I go to all my friends. I'm like, guys, I'm growing, man. I just hired somebody. They're working for me now. Like, that's how good I am. I got people working for me now. My real estate business is growing. Okay, so now we're doing that. But then they go straight to the buyer's agent, and then they realize that their income is dropping. And their income is dropping because their time is being changed. The time that they're thinking they need to be putting into is somebody like Bruce. But instead, as a buyer's agent. But instead, they really need to be working overtime because they need to continue doing what they were doing before, right? To maintain whatever amount of transactions they were doing before. And they need to really look. And if you're listening to this show, please remember this. You need to look at anytime you're growing a team member, even as an assistant or as a buyer's agent or whatever that may be, you're going to have to work overtime. If you don't work overtime, then that means you're taking time away from what you were doing for that sustainable business. And it's going to get you right back to what Bruce just said, that real estate roller coaster income stream. But now, guess what? That real estate roller coaster income stream really goes down because you got to pay the employees. You got to pay the other people too. And
Yep.
so if you're not hearing anything out of this webinar, please know, or webinar, I don't know why I keep saying webinar today, but if you don't hear any, I've been shooting too many of them here lately, but if you don't hear anything else out of this episode, one of the key takeaways is know that when you do decide to grow that team, that you really got to stay focused in knowing what you were doing before that worked to maintain that income, but you have to look at it as if you're going to work overtime to be able to grow that business by training other people or, whatever that may be.
So I kind of look at it as really a cause and effect in this business, and the cause and effect frequently gets entered into before we're ready. So let me give you take on a real estate team. You bring on a buyer's agent, a few assistants, a listing agent, something like that, and that causes you to need to take on more expenses than you were really prepared for as well. Because when you do bring on the buyer's agent, that sense of responsibility comes onto your shoulders. And believe me, I've felt it, and I haven't always set it up the right way.
Right.
So you have that responsibility for another person besides just yourself, your family on your shoulders. You go, man, I need to go get some more leads for this person. Next thing you know, you're doing all the things that you knew you shouldn't have been doing at that time in your career, because now you have to provide more business. So you take on more expenses. What if the agent that you hire, the agents that you bring on are not capable of converting leads? Now all of a sudden you have all these expenses without the income coming in while you're training, while you're in the infancy baby stages. So all of these things are good, but they're good in due time. Right. Don't hire buyer's agents when you yourself still have room to grow, when you can still put more systems into place while it's just you, or even potentially you and maybe a part-time assistant some people start with. So a lot of people make the mistake of trying to get too big too fast, and it spins out of control. Go ahead.
So let's get real on the Real Talk Real Estate Show. Let's go through what I personally believe, that after my own self, my own problems that I've hired somebody too soon and what have you over my career, and also what I've learned from other people's mistakes and what I've learned out of all the coaching calls that I've done is, well, for one, you want to get to a level to be able to at least be able to maintain your own personal income. So if that means in your market that's 2 deals, that may mean that that's 5 deals. And if you don't know what that number is, please call us you need to get some help. You need to get a coach or somebody that can really help you with that. But you got to really know what those numbers are. Now, I don't mean volume. I don't need to know that I need to make, I need to sell $7 million in homes. Our time gets really divvied up by the number of transactions. So we want to look at number of units or number of doors that we're actually selling. So once you know that number, at least maintain that number for at least a couple of months. Doesn't have to be years, guys. But at least a couple of months. Because really what that's telling you is that 2 things. One, you know what to do on a daily basis to be able to maintain the prospecting, the day-to-day functions and everything else yourself. And 2, that proves that you have the lead generators in place in your business to be able to continually give you that number of leads that you need to be able to convert, to be able to maintain that number of business. From that point, then make the decision, can I personally do more? Okay. And what is that number? That may be 20, 30, 40% more transactions. It's going to feel at first, it's going to feel like you're not going to be able to do it because that's the new norm. You're weird right now at the very beginning of getting to that maintaining level. And for the sake of this, let's say that now we're going to go to 5 to 7 transactions, and that's kind of the phase 2. Well, let me ask you a question first. If you're going to work so hard, you're probably still going to only work a certain amount of hours. Would you rather have the income and only the responsibility of holding yourself accountable, of getting that income for those 5 to 7 transactions per month for maybe even just a period of time? Enjoy it. You've worked hard to get to that point before you go out there and start screaming that you need to hire a buyer's agent or you need to hire an assistant or something like that. So the first thing is maybe make that as a conscious decision when you want to go down that path, okay? But then when you're going down that path, one of the first things that you need to be looking at is bringing on an assistant, not a buyer's agent. A buyer's agent is not going to grow your business. A buyer's agent is a buyer's agent for a reason. They're not a full agent for a reason. They're looking at you to bring them those deals and in return get a split or a good split between the two of you. If not, they don't need you. They can go to the broker's office and for free, usually on a monthly basis, and get a better split than you. So give them a reason why. But here's the big thing. If you have enough leads to support whatever you've been maintaining for a couple of months, you got to grow that lead source. Don't pull away from your own pockets and try to hand it to another buyer's agent thinking that that's going to get you more business. Okay? It's not. You got to bring in more leads. So you got to either pump up some of the lead generators that you already have, or you've got to actually add more lead generators to the pot, you know? And then your focus is like I said earlier, working overtime. So I'll let you kind of chime in. I know I kind of went through that first half of the part, but I at least want to kind of lay that out there to the assistant part, and then we'll kind of take it from the assistant part on.
Absolutely, and that is that is so true. First off, is while you were discussing that, there were two very, very important principles that come to mind. First is we talked about sustaining your high level of business for a little while, at least a couple of months. Be slightly cautious, guys, that when you're looking at maintaining business, that you are not maintaining business during the hottest year that we've seen in real estate, during the hottest months of the year. That's going to happen naturally. Sometimes you just have to suck it up, go through the process of trying to handle more clients than you've ever handled before, and don't necessarily count those. One of the things that I do with my coaching clients is frequently we'll take a look at last year's business, and we'll go, okay, let's look at how much business you closed last year, and make a goal for what we're going to do over the next year. Now, if there are some outliers, if there is a $30,000 sale and a $4 million closing, we're going to scrap those. So I want you to look at these booming months that many of our markets have as almost the outlier. We need to make sure that we're developing consistency and predictability in the amount of business that we're going to be doing throughout the year. Whether it's the holidays, whether it's the dead of winter if you're in a northern market, whether it's school starting, we need to make sure that you're not going to see big valleys, huge dips in your business where you're barely feeding yourself when we have these traditional dips in the market. Right. So once you've seen that you're going to get that business, what David said is absolutely right. That kind of brings me to my second point, is the assistant would be the first hire. Don't necessarily make the mistake of going, okay, I'm busy, I'm bringing an assistant in. Hey, Tom, hey, Jane, here's my business, help me out. And they go, well, what do I need to do?
Right.
You need to work on, while you have the business, the procedures and systems that make your life easier in the long run, so that you can properly hand those over to that assistant as your first hire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming in and leaving a week later because they never see you and they don't know what to do.
Well, and not to mention that usually the demographic of an assistant is they're okay with sitting in an office. They're very detail oriented. You know, they're not, I mean, they are people, but they're not really, they're okay with sitting in four walls Monday through Friday. And the number one reason that I see why assistants quit is because they always think that they aren't doing a good enough job. And the reason they don't feel that way is because their job never was presented to them correctly. So they don't really understand exactly what they're being held accountable for, and they get frustrated and then they leave. And they're probably the best assistant in their marketplace to be able to move forward. So that's a whole other episode that we can shoot on assistants and kind of how to look at those for sure. I'm happy to do it, but absolutely. So today I know, and we're running out of time, so I'll wrap it up, I guess, kind of towards the assistant part of things. And then on one of the next episodes, we can talk about on the team side, like how to go about that buyer's agent kind of side and when to look at that. But the challenge I really want to give everybody on today's episode is, I don't know about you, but I sell real estate to make money. And if something is not making me money, but it's costing me a lot more of my time, I have to ask myself, what really is the upside of that? Is that something that I really want to take on? And there's been like some of the fluff in the industry, just to kind of get back to that part of it, is, well, look at, some of the major brokerages. I'll say it, the Keller Williams. I have a lot of Keller Williams agents as clients, but Gary Keller did a great job back in the late 90s and early 2000s is starting to develop the team side of things because it was a recruitment tool. And I agree that we do have to have a team environment in place to be able to really do high volume. You can't do it all on your own, but we can't necessarily start hiring assistants or buyer's agents when we're barely paying our own bills. So my challenge to you, if you're listening to this, is do it for yourself. Don't do it to say that you have a team, because saying you have a team, honestly, is probably going to cost you money and cost you time. And at the very beginning, it's not going to make you much. So make sure you're personally in your business, you're the CEO, you're running this business how you want to. Make sure you think it through. Don't be following what everybody else thinks that you need to do, because what works for the neighbor next door in the other office, it's kind of like when people run marathons. Run your own race, okay? We're all going to get there together, but do what ultimately is best for you and your family and your finance and for your time, and make that a conscious decision on how you're going to go about it. Don't just run out there and start thinking that I need to start bringing in other people, because that's what it takes to be successful. And the last piece of that is make sure that when you do get to that 2 to 4 transactions a month, and then you maybe go ahead and decide to take it to 5 to 7, enjoy it. Level out for a little while, sit back. Go take a week vacation, fly first class where maybe you haven't ever done it before. Do something abstract, do something with that. So at least you can say, I've made it to this point. I'm happy. I want to enjoy this. I want to maintain this, and then take it to the next level. Don't rush into it, because that most likely as well won't be as prepared. And it probably is going to cause more issue than it is going to cause more benefit.
Absolutely. So, I know we're a little light on time left, but here would be my biggest takeaway, having watched a lot of people that just rushed into the team environment. Our whole series here is on cutting the fluff, and we're kind of we're kind of picking on teams just a little bit here, premature teams a little bit here. And I would say that really the reason, if you're looking at this from a fluff perspective, the reason why immediately jumping and trying to take on a bunch of other people that you're responsible for is fluff really is that snowball effect. It's not that the team in and of itself is always fluff.
Right.
But suddenly that extra responsibility starts causing the team leader to go look everywhere else for where they're going to find more business. Next thing you know, all these extra squirrels are running in and out of your vision, and you're not able to truly keep your eye on the ball, keep your transactions going, keep a steady number of leads and pieces of business coming in from your reliable and predictable, your bread and butter.
Right.
Because now you're looking everywhere else. And why wouldn't you look everywhere else? You have agents that need business now.
Right.
You have enough business coming in to feed you. Good job. Good job.
Right.
But don't rush out and take on a bunch of other agents, buyer's agents, when you're predictable, when your bread and butter is still taken care of. Let's say that much.
Right. Right. Okay. And you're going to spend time with these other people. And I kind of go back to my trainer kind of analogy. I'm not the guy that goes out and just loves to work out, right? Hang out at the gym and talk to people. That's just not me. But I know that it's important to go and work out and stay healthy. So I tell my trainer, I'm like, hey, yo, you got 1 hour of my time, and you got that 1 hour 3 times a week. Okay. That's all you got. Now here's your job. You can do whatever you want to me while I'm in the gym. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if I can't walk at the end of it. Okay. So you got that hour, but you got 60 minutes, not 61, because I'm going to probably start thinking about business. And I'm gone by that point. And 2, I was like, I've got to see results eventually. If I don't see results, then you're gone. That's it. So I say that in the fact of, with all your hours that you have as an agent, and you add on this other agent, that's going to take time. Little phone calls, a little text, the questions, the taking time to nurture them, or the friendly talk to them. All that is time. I don't know about you, but I'm not necessarily going out there just trying to meet new people, make new friends. I got my friends. I want to make more money, right? And I want to help more people buy and sell real estate if I'm in that position as an agent. So if that's the case, that time could have been used for, I don't know, more prospecting. That could have taken you, in this analogy, to our 5 to 7 deals a month on your own without having to have 50% going to it. And guaranteed that in one of the first 5 transactions they do, you're going to feel like they didn't deserve half that transaction anyways, because you had to do most of it. So they don't even have they don't even have the structure of how they take on a buyer's agent. It's commissions done correctly, like what we teach in our coaching. So, so think about it as well. What's the best use of your time? If I'm going to bring on this person, I know I'm going to have to babysit a little bit. If I were to do that same amount of time, but I were to do something else with it, is that going to be more beneficial and really make me more happy overall, or not? So kind of, judge yourself a little bit in that regards on your time and how you're going to spend it, as well. That's why I say, when you bring on somebody, assistant, buyer's agent, anything, you're going to have to work overtime. So just suck it up for that part of it, that that you're going to work above and beyond. If not, it's going to suffer your business.
Absolutely.
Cool. Bruce, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it as always. And guys, here on the Real Talk Real Estate Show, our goal is just to bring you kind of real talk about the real estate industry. Again, like today, Bruce and I both agree, teams are definitely a way to go. But teams are being sold in a way to go way too soon in most agents' careers. So keep that in mind. Run your own race. Understand what's best for you and what maybe you're working towards, but don't do it prematurely. Take advantage of the time that you have now to be able to do more yourself and rake in that money on your own and enjoy it for a little while. And then maybe in a month or 2, you decide to kind of take it to that next step. Don't be pushed into the fluff of the industry that you've got to have a team to be able to survive or succeed in this business, because it really isn't the truth. I can say that as an option as having a team with 1 buyer's agent, having a team with 1 assistant, and then the full agent, they're grossing almost $750,000 this year. So you don't have to have a big team. But there's a process for it to go through to be able to get to. Lastly, I just want to ask an opinion of the listeners. So if you're listening to this episode, I'm going to tell you about a program that I'm considering doing really quick. And Bruce, if you need to run, man, go ahead and zap out if you need to. I know you have an appointment you've got to make too. Do you want me to zap you out?
Yeah, go ahead, zap me out.
All right, Bruce. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
So I want to take a minute really quick here, and I'm seeing a lot of agents coming into our coaching program, and a lot of the basics just really aren't being covered by what they've done in the past. Like, they don't really understand how lead generators really work in our business. They are always chasing new lead generators. I mean, we sent out an email last week, and then I got these people calling me saying, "Hey, yo, I need you selling lead generators?" And I'm like, "Oh man, it's the middle of the month or middle of the year. I mean, why are you looking for lead generators now? Like, that should have already been figured out before." So there is some myths in the lead generator side that I think a lot of agents need help as far as how to look at their lead generators. So I'm thinking about putting together a program that basically will cover these key points. And if this kind of matches up something that you would be interested in, please email me, david@realpurchase.com, or give us a call, 800-916-7325. I'm really just kind of curious to know, if the industry really is looking for a program like this. So here's what I've got. One is that in this program, this will be a bulk program. This program will last between probably 4 to 8 weeks, probably more like 8 weeks. And each week we will be focused on a different point. In other words, to kind of take you through all the basics, or what we call the foundation of your real estate business. So the first one that we would be going over is how to choose like real lead generators, like lead generators that actually will get you names and numbers of raised hands in your marketplace, of buyers and sellers looking to move. And so that would be the one thing that we would go over that entire week, is really just cycle focus those lead generators and making sure you got the right lead generators. They're going to help you get to your overall goal. The second thing is going to be is your listing presentation. Now, a lot of us have been on listing presentations, but do you really have a listing presentation by design? Do you really know what you're trying to accomplish at every stage of that listing presentation? And so I would want to take that entire week, and we would do a study on that listing presentation. And I'll teach you exactly, as I'm walking through the house of my client, what do I need to know? You teach you, I'm at the table. What's the process? What's the emotional process that I need to take that seller through to get them to see why I'm the best agent? What questions to ask that seller to make sure that I understand exactly how I need to ask for their business. So number 2 would be the listing presentation and really perfecting that process for you and your business. Number 3 would be the dialogue, or the scripts, you can call it, as old school people say, that actually do convert into appointments. If you want an appointment, or if they need an appointment. In other words, if they really are somebody looking to buy or sell in the next 30 days, how are we going to be able to get them to want to have an appointment with us? So I'll teach you the dialogues and the scripts and like the tricks of the trade of kind of like what to say to get them to want to meet with you if you've determined that it is right to have an appointment with that particular prospect. I want to also, that on the fourth thing that we'll go through is a schedule, but a schedule that's customized for you, your kids, picking up kids from school or church or whatever the different variables that are in your schedule. We'll really go through your schedule and make sure that you have like almost like a checklist of exactly what you need to be focused on throughout the week in order to maintain a sustainable real estate business. So it's not going to be, oh, from 9 to 10, you need to prospect, you need to call expireds from 10 to 11. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what exactly needs to happen throughout that week. How do we really kind of know what we need to be focused on throughout the week? And so we don't go, oh, it's 2 o'clock. I don't have any appointments, so I guess it's time to go home, or let me go do this. No, we want to know exactly how to set that up. And so we're going to coach you on how to do that. The fifth one is going to be how to track your prospects. Like literally, like, what is the easiest way? Do I need this crazy cool CRM? It's on my phone. It's on my Google Calendar. It rings me out of nowhere. What is it? So what is a really easy, sustainable tracking system that you can put in place to be able to manage all your prospects and see your business grow, or see it suffering, but at least you have something to be able to look at, to know which direction it's going, and that's kind of motivating in itself. And last but not least is tracking the prospects, and the last thing is what really to track in your real estate business. Like during the day, a checklist that you can work on to know, am I really doing what's leading me towards my next paycheck, or is this fluff in my time? Am I really working on my next appointment? Am I really doing what I should be doing in our business? And we really kind of boil that down to kind of it's a little bit elongated 3-step process. So you can literally ask yourself at any time this checklist and really understand, am I really being focused on things that are really going to make me money? So if this is a program that you think that those key things there would benefit you, and that would be I'm assuming a pretty decent price, affordable price, because we've been doing it as a group kind of setting, a small group setting. So if this is something that you think that you can benefit of in your business, then reach out, let us know. Call us directly, 800-916-7325, or email me, david@realperch.com, and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to be able to hear them. And as always, that we do have our one-on-one coaching, and Bruce is one of our one-on-one coaches, one of our great one-on-one coaches. And so if you need help, don't think that it's going to change by you fixing it on your own, or don't define insanity. Reach out, at least have a conversation with us. We're not a high-pressure salesperson. So reach out, talk to us, let you know the product that we have. We have a great membership site with almost 100 videos shot in there of the bare bones of no fluff of exactly what you need to have in your real estate business, in your residential real estate business, in order to be successful in this business. And it's what I've used over the years. It's what I've coached over the years. It's what I've seen other people use to be successful. and it literally is driving my students' income and paychecks up. So reach out. Thank you again for joining us on this episode of the Real Talk Real Estate Show. Again, your host here, David Huffman, and I look forward to connecting with you here in another couple of days on another episode of the Real Talk Real Estate Show.